There is a weight that many of us carry, an invisible burden that clings to our thoughts and colors our days. This weight is the past, a collection of memories, regrets, and unfulfilled desires that chain us to what was, leaving us paralyzed in the present. Yet there is a way to unshackle ourselves from this burden, to let go of the past and move forward with strength and clarity. This is not a journey for the faint-hearted, but for those who seek true freedom from the tyranny of what has already been. Together we will explore the depths of this process, guided by the wisdom of ancient philosophy, to find our way to a future unencumbered by yesterday's shadows. Chapter 1: The Weight of the Past. The past is not merely a collection of memories, it is a force that shapes our identity, our decisions, and even our future. When we allow the past to dominate our thoughts, it becomes a burden, weighing us down and preventing us from fully engaging with the present. This weight manifests in various forms: regrets over missed opportunities, guilt over mistakes made, and sorrow for the losses endured. Each of these elements acts like a chain, binding us to a time that no longer exists. Consider the words of the Stoic philosopher Seneca, who cautioned against being nowhere because one spends too much time everywhere. This warning speaks to the danger of dwelling too much on the past, as it prevents us from living in the present. When we ruminate over what could have been, we lose sight of what is, and in doing so, we diminish our capacity to act meaningfully in the here and now. The weight of the past can also distort our perception of ourselves. We begin to see ourselves not as we are, but as we were defined by our past failures, wrongdoings, or traumas. This distorted self-image becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, as we unconsciously recreate the very patterns of behavior that led to our previous struggles. The Stoics understood this danger well. They emphasized the importance of recognizing the past's influence, but warned against letting it dictate our present actions. To truly let go of the past, we must first acknowledge the weight it holds over us. This requires a deep and honest reflection on how our past experiences continue to influence our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. It means facing the pain, the regret, and the sorrow head-on without flinching. But acknowledgement alone is not enough. We must also decide, with firm resolve, to release the past's hold on us. This is not an easy task, but it is a necessary one if we are to move forward unencumbered. The process of letting go begins with the understanding that the past is immutable. It cannot be changed, no matter how much we wish it could be. What we can change, however, is our relationship to the past. We can choose to see it not as a source of perpetual suffering, but as a foundation from which we can build a better future. This shift in perspective is crucial, as it transforms the past from a prison into a wellspring of potential. Chapter 2: Reframing Your Story. The past is not just a series of events, it is the story we tell ourselves about those events. This story is powerful. It shapes our beliefs, our identity, and our worldview. However, the story we tell is often tainted by our emotions, particularly by feelings of regret, guilt, and shame. These emotions can distort our memories, exaggerating our failures and downplaying our successes, leading us to see our past in a negative light. The Stoics understood the importance of perception in shaping our reality. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, famously said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This insight is crucial when it comes to reframing your story. By changing how we think about the past, we can change its impact on our present and future. Reframing your story involves several key steps. First, you must recognize the narrative you have constructed about your past. What are the dominant themes? Is it a story of failure and loss, or one of growth and resilience? Understanding the narrative you have created is the first step in changing it. Once you have identified your current narrative, the next step is to challenge it. Ask yourself whether the story you tell is the only possible interpretation of your past. Could there be another way to view the same events? For instance, instead of seeing a past failure as a sign of your inadequacy, could it be seen as a necessary step in your journey toward wisdom and strength? Instead of viewing a lost opportunity as a door closed forever, could it be viewed as a detour that led you to something even greater? The process of reframing is not about denying the reality of your experiences, but about changing your perspective on them. It's about seeing the lessons in your failures, the strength in your struggles, and the growth in your pain. By doing this, you transform your past from a source of regret into a source of wisdom. This new narrative is not just about making yourself feel better, it has practical implications for your life. When you see your past as a series of valuable lessons rather than a chain of unfortunate events, you empower yourself to make better decisions in the present. You approach challenges with a mindset of growth rather than defeat, and you carry the wisdom of your past experiences with you as you move forward. Reframing your story is also about taking responsibility. The Stoics believe that we are not victims of fate, but active participants in our lives. While we cannot control everything that happens to us, we can control how we respond to it. By reframing your story, you take ownership of your past and its impact on your life. You stop seeing yourself as a passive recipient of whatever life throws at you, and start seeing yourself as the author of your own story. This process of reframing is ongoing. As you continue to grow and evolve, your understanding of your past will also change. What may seem like a failure today might, in hindsight, be the very thing that led to your greatest success. By continually revisiting and reframing your story, you ensure that the past remains a source of strength and wisdom rather than a burden to be carried. In the end, the goal is not to erase the past, but to integrate it into your life in a way that serves you. By reframing your story, you let go of the negative hold the past has over you and open yourself up to the possibilities of the future. You move from being a prisoner of your past to being the creator of your destiny. Certainly. Let's explore chapters 3 and 4 in greater depth, focusing on the Stoic philosophy's profound insights into learning from failure and the power of present focus. Chapter 3: Learning from Failure. Failure is often seen as something to be avoided at all costs. It carries with it a stigma, a mark of inadequacy, weakness, and defeat. Society teaches us to fear failure, to hide it, to run from it. Yet in the quiet wisdom of Stoicism, failure is not a curse but a blessing in disguise. It is not the end, but the beginning of true wisdom and growth. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus, a former slave who rose to become one of the most influential thinkers of his time, knew the value of failure firsthand. He taught that it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. This statement cuts to the heart of why failure is so crucial. It strips away our illusions, our false sense of certainty, and forces us to confront reality. When we fail, we are given the rare opportunity to see ourselves as we truly are, not as we wish to be, not as we pretend to be, but as we are in our most vulnerable state. Failure humbles us. It brings us back to the drawing board, where we must reevaluate our assumptions, our strategies, and our goals. It is through this process of re-examination that we grow. If success is a poor teacher because it reinforces our existing beliefs, then failure is a wise mentor who challenges us to think differently, to innovate, and to improve. But learning from failure is not automatic. It requires a deliberate effort to analyze what went wrong and why. The Stoics were masters of this kind of introspection. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on his own shortcomings and the ways in which he could improve. He understood that failure, when approached with the right mindset, is not something to be ashamed of, but something to be embraced as part of the journey toward excellence. The key to learning from failure is to detach from the emotional response that often accompanies it. When we fail, it's easy to become consumed by feelings of shame, frustration, and self-doubt. These emotions can cloud our judgment and prevent us from seeing the valuable lessons that failure offers. The Stoics teach us to approach failure with equanimity, to remain calm and composed, to accept the situation as it is, and to focus on what can be learned from it. Seneca, Another great Stoic philosopher advised that difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. This perspective is essential for transforming failure into a tool for growth. Just as muscles grow stronger through resistance, so too does our character grow stronger through the challenges and setbacks we encounter. By viewing failure as a form of mental and emotional resistance training, we can develop resilience, wisdom, and inner strength. Moreover, failure teaches us to let go of perfectionism. The pursuit of perfection often leads to paralysis, as we become so afraid of making mistakes that we end up doing nothing at all. The Stoics understood that perfection is an illusion, and that the pursuit of excellence, flawed and imperfect as it may be, is far more valuable. By embracing failure as a natural and necessary part of the process, we free ourselves from the unrealistic expectation of perfection and open ourselves up to continuous learning and improvement. In essence, failure is not the enemy, it is a guide. It shows us where we went wrong, where we need to improve, and what we must do differently in the future. It is the crucible in which our character is forged. By learning from failure, we turn it from a source of pain into a source of power, and we set ourselves on the path to true wisdom and success. Chapter 4. The Power of Present Focus 929. The present moment is all we truly have. The past is gone, the future is uncertain, and the present is where life unfolds. Yet many of us spend our days either dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, missing the only moment that really matters, the now. The Stoics recognized this truth and emphasized the importance of living fully in the present. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." This simple yet profound advice encapsulates the Stoic approach to time and existence. To live in the present is to engage with life as it is, not as it was or as we fear it might be. It is to focus our energy and attention on what we can control, the here and now, rather than being distracted by regrets or anxieties. The power of present focus lies in its ability to free us from the shackles of time. When we are fully present, we are not haunted by the ghosts of the past, nor are we paralyzed by the specter of the future. Instead, we are grounded in the reality of the moment, where we can take meaningful action and make decisions that align with our true values and goals. The Stoics believe that our power lies in our ability to act in the present. We cannot change the past, and the future is beyond our control, but the present is where we can exercise our will, make choices, and influence the course of our lives. Epictetus taught that we should always be asking ourselves, is this something that is or is not in my control? This question helps us to focus on what is within our power, the present moment, rather than wasting energy on what we cannot change. Living in the present also allows us to experience life more fully. When we are caught up in thoughts of the past or future, we miss the richness of the present moment. We fail to notice the beauty around us, the opportunities before us, and the joy that can be found in even the smallest of moments. By bringing our attention back to the present, we open ourselves up to the fullness of life. Moreover, present focus is a powerful antidote to anxiety and stress. Much of our anxiety comes from worrying about the future, what might happen, what could go wrong, what we should do next. These worries take us out of the present and into a realm of uncertainty and fear. The Stoics remind us that the future is not ours to control, and that by staying rooted in the present, we can find peace. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Do not let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present." Present focus also sharpens our decision-making and actions. When we are fully engaged in the present, we can respond to situations with clarity and purpose. We are not distracted by irrelevant concerns or overwhelmed by the magnitude of what lies ahead. Instead, we take things one step at a time, dealing with each challenge as it arises. This focused approach leads to more effective and meaningful actions. In a world that is constantly pulling us in different directions, encouraging us to dwell on the past or worry about the future. The Stoic practice of present focus is a form of resistance. It is a refusal to be swept away by the currents of time and a commitment to live fully in the moment. By embracing the power of present focus, we reclaim our ability to shape our lives and live with intention and purpose. Ultimately, the power of present focus is the power to live a life that is truly our own. It is the power to engage with the world as it is, to make choices that reflect our deepest values, and to experience the fullness of life in every moment. It is the power to be free from the past, from the future, and from the distractions that pull us away from the present. It is the power to be truly alive. Certainly. Let's delve deeper into chapters 5 and 6, exploring the concepts of breaking free from the chains of expectation and actively shaping your future with Stoic wisdom. Chapter 5, Breaking the Chains of Expectation 1254. Expectations are invisible chains that bind us to a reality we cannot control. They are the silent architects of our disappointments, frustrations, and anxieties. When we expect life to unfold in a certain way, we set ourselves up for suffering. The Stoics understood that expectations are often rooted in our desire for control over outcomes, people, and circumstances. Yet this desire is inherently flawed because much of what happens in life is beyond our control. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, taught that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This principle is at the heart of breaking the chains of expectation. The Stoics believed that we should focus on what is within our power, our own actions, thoughts, and attitudes rather than becoming attached to specific outcomes. When we tie our happiness to how things turn out, we relinquish control over our inner peace, making it dependent on external circumstances that are often unpredictable. Expectations can be particularly insidious because they often masquerade as reasonable hopes or aspirations. We expect others to treat us fairly, for our hard work to pay off, or for life to be fair. While these expectations may seem justified, they are, in fact, a form of mental slavery. When reality inevitably diverges from our expectations, we are left feeling betrayed and disillusioned. The Stoics taught that we must learn to release these expectations and accept life as it comes, without judgment or resistance. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." This wisdom speaks to the importance of approaching life with an open hand. When we let go of our rigid expectations, we free ourselves from the emotional turmoil that arises when things don't go as planned. We learn to embrace whatever life brings, understanding that our well-being is not dependent on external events, but on our inner response to them. Breaking the chains of expectation also means relinquishing the need for validation from others. In a world obsessed with approval and recognition, it is easy to fall into the trap of living for the expectations of others, whether it be the expectations of family, friends, or society at large. This external pressure can lead us to make choices that are not aligned with our true values and desires, causing internal conflict and dissatisfaction. The Stoics remind us that true contentment comes from living according to our own principles, not the expectations of others. Seneca, in his letters, urged us to set aside the opinion of the crowd and value only what is useful. This teaching encourages us to focus on what truly matters: our own integrity, wisdom, and inner peace, rather than being swayed by the fleeting opinions of others. By breaking free from the need for external validation, we reclaim our autonomy and live more authentically. Moreover, breaking the chains of expectation is not about abandoning all desires or goals. It is about pursuing them with a sense of detachment. The Stoics believe that we should strive to do our best in all endeavors, but without becoming overly attached to the outcome. This is known as the practice of amor fati, loving one's fate. It means accepting whatever happens with a sense of equanimity, knowing that we have done all we can and that the rest is beyond our control. When we break the chains of expectation, we liberate ourselves from the cycle of hope and disappointment. We learn to live with greater flexibility, adaptability, and resilience. We approach life with a sense of curiosity and openness, ready to face whatever comes our way without fear or frustration. This freedom from expectation is not a form of resignation, but a path to true empowerment. It allows us to engage with life fully, without the constraints of preconceived notions or rigid demands. In the end, breaking the chains of expectation is about reclaiming our inner freedom. It is about living in harmony with reality, accepting life as it is rather than as we wish it to be. By doing so, we cultivate a deep sense of peace and contentment that is unshakable, regardless of the challenges and uncertainties that life may bring. Chapter 6: Shape Your Future 1536. While the Stoics teach us to live in the present and to accept what we cannot control, they also emphasize the importance of actively shaping our future. The future is not something that merely happens to us. It is something we create through our actions, decisions, and mindset in the present. Shaping your future is about taking responsibility for your life and recognizing that you have the power to influence its direction. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This insight underscores the Stoic belief that the future is shaped by our thoughts and actions. While we cannot predict or control every outcome, we can control how we respond to the circumstances we face. By cultivating a disciplined mind and a strong character, we set the foundation for a future that aligns with our values and aspirations. Shaping your future begins with clarity of purpose. The Stoics believed in living a life guided by virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These virtues serve as a compass, directing our actions and decisions. To shape your future effectively, you must first understand what is truly important to you. What are your core values? What kind of person do you want to become? What legacy do you want to leave behind? These questions help you to set meaningful goals and to pursue them with intention and integrity. Once you have clarity of purpose, the next step is to take deliberate action. The Stoics were firm believers in the importance of taking consistent, purposeful action toward one's goals. Epictetus advised, first say to yourself what you would be and then do what you have to do. This teaching emphasizes the connection between intention and action. It's not enough to have lofty ideals or dreams, you must also be willing to do the hard work required to bring them to fruition. However, shaping your future is not just about achieving specific goals. It's also about cultivating the resilience and adaptability needed to navigate the uncertainties of life. The future is inherently unpredictable, and no amount of planning can account for every possible outcome. The Stoics teach us to prepare for this uncertainty by developing a flexible mindset, one that is open to change and ready to adjust course as needed. Seneca, in his Wisdom, wrote, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." This quote captures the essence of shaping your future. It's about being prepared, both mentally and practically, to seize the opportunities that come your way. This preparation involves continuous learning, self-reflection, and the development of skills that will serve you well in a variety of circumstances. By investing in your personal growth and by staying attuned to the present moment, you increase your ability to influence your future in a positive direction. Shaping your future also involves letting go of the need for immediate gratification. The Stoics understood that the pursuit of short-term pleasures often leads to long-term suffering. Instead, they advocated for a focus on long-term fulfillment, on goals and actions that contribute to lasting happiness and well-being. This requires patience, discipline, and the ability to delay gratification in pursuit of something greater. Finally, shaping your future is about embracing a growth mindset. The Stoics believe that life is a continuous journey of self-improvement and that every experience, whether positive or negative, offers an opportunity to learn and grow. By viewing challenges as opportunities for growth, you approach the future with a sense of curiosity and optimism, ready to evolve and adapt as needed. Certainly. Let's dive deeper into chapters 7 and 8, exploring the transformative concepts of turning pain into power and implementing practical steps for change with the guidance of Stoic philosophy. Chapter 7: Turning Pain into Power. Pain is an inevitable part of the human experience. Whether it be physical, emotional, or psychological, pain is something we all encounter throughout our lives. The Stoics, however, viewed pain not as a mere obstacle but as an opportunity for growth and transformation. In their eyes, pain was a powerful teacher, offering valuable lessons that could lead to greater strength, wisdom, and resilience. To turn pain into power is to embrace this perspective, to see suffering not as a burden, but as a catalyst for inner development. The philosopher Seneca, who endured great personal loss and exile, famously said, "Difficulty strengthens the mind, as labor does the body." This quote encapsulates the Stoic approach to pain, seeing it as a form of mental and emotional exercise that, when approached correctly, can fortify the soul, just as physical muscles grow stronger through resistance. So too does our character and resolve grow stronger through the trials and tribulations we face. One of the key teachings of Stoicism is the concept of voluntary discomfort. The Stoics would deliberately expose themselves to hardship, whether through physical challenges, fasting, or enduring cold temperatures, so that they could build resilience and prepare themselves for the inevitable pains of life. This practice taught them that pain, while unpleasant, could be endured and even used as a tool for personal growth. It was a way to train the mind to remain calm and composed, even in the face of suffering. But what does it truly mean to turn pain into power? It begins with a shift in mindset. Instead of viewing pain as something to be avoided at all costs, we must learn to see it as an integral part of the journey towards self-mastery. Pain reveals our vulnerabilities, our fears, and our attachments, things that the Stoics believed we must confront and overcome to achieve true inner freedom. By facing pain head-on, we gain insight into our own strengths and weaknesses, allowing us to grow stronger in both mind and spirit. Epictetus, another prominent Stoic philosopher, taught that it is not events that disturb people, it is their judgments concerning them. This insight is crucial in turning pain into power. The pain we experience is often exacerbated by the stories we tell ourselves about it, stories of victimhood, helplessness, or despair. The Stoics encourage us to change the narrative, to reframe our experiences in a way that empowers us rather than diminishes us. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we should ask, "What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this experience?" This reframing process is central to transforming pain into power. It requires us to take ownership of our suffering, to see it as something that we can use to our advantage. When we stop resisting pain and start embracing it as a teacher, we unlock its transformative potential. We begin to see pain as a necessary part of the process of becoming who we are meant to be, a stronger, wiser, and more resilient version of ourselves. Turning pain into power also involves the practice of amor fati, the love of fate. This Stoic concept teaches us to embrace everything that happens to us, including our pain, as necessary and even beneficial for our growth. When we learn to love our fate, we stop seeing pain as an enemy and start seeing it as an ally. We accept that everything, including our suffering, is part of the greater whole of our lives, and that each experience, no matter how painful, contributes to our development. Furthermore, turning pain into power is about finding meaning in suffering. The Stoics believed that nothing happens without reason, and that even the most painful experiences have something to teach us. By searching for meaning in our suffering, we transform it from a source of despair into a source of strength. We come to understand that our pain can serve a greater purpose, whether it be to teach us compassion, patience, humility, or courage. In practice, this means using pain as a motivator rather than a deterrent. Instead of allowing pain to paralyze us, we use it to fuel our determination to overcome challenges and achieve our goals. We channel our suffering into constructive action, turning our struggles into stepping stones toward success. This is the essence of turning pain into power, harnessing the energy of our suffering to propel us forward, rather than allowing it to hold us back. Ultimately, turning pain into power is about transforming our relationship with suffering. It is about seeing pain not as something to be feared or avoided, but as a vital part of the human experience that has the potential to make us stronger, wiser, and more resilient. By adopting this Stoic perspective, we learn to face our pain with courage and grace, using it as a tool for our personal and spiritual growth. Chapter 8: Practical Steps for Change. Change is a constant in life, yet it is often met with resistance and fear. The Stoics understood that while we cannot control the external changes that occur around us, we can control how we respond to them. Moreover, they believed that we have the power to initiate positive change within ourselves. To live a life of virtue and fulfillment, it is essential to take deliberate steps towards self-improvement and to embrace change as a necessary part of this journey. In this chapter, we explore practical steps grounded in Stoic philosophy that can help us initiate and sustain meaningful change in our lives. Step 1: Cultivate self-awareness. The first step to change is self-awareness. The Stoics placed great emphasis on the practice of prosos, or mindful attention. This involves regularly examining our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors to understand what drives us and where we need to improve. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Look within. Within is the fountain of all good. By turning our attention inward, we gain clarity about our strengths and weaknesses, our values, and our aspirations." This self-knowledge is the foundation upon which all change is built. To cultivate self-awareness, the Stoics practiced daily reflection. At the end of each day, they would review their actions, thoughts, and emotions, asking themselves what they did well, what they could have done better, and what lessons they could learn. This practice of self-examination helps us identify areas for growth and sets the stage for intentional change. Step 2: Set clear intentions. Once we have a clear understanding of where we need to change, the next step is to set clear intentions. The Stoics believed in living with purpose, and this requires setting specific, meaningful goals that align with our values. Epictetus urged us to first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This teaching reminds us that change begins with a clear vision of who we want to become. Setting clear intentions involves more than just identifying what we want to achieve. It also requires understanding why we want to achieve it. The Stoics taught that our goals should be rooted in virtue and the pursuit of wisdom, rather than in external rewards or recognition. By setting intentions that are aligned with our true values, we ensure that our efforts to change are both meaningful and sustainable. Step 3: Take consistent action. Change is not achieved through grand gestures, but through consistent, small actions taken over time. The Stoics believed in the power of daily practice, what they called ascesis. This disciplined approach to self-improvement involves taking deliberate, consistent steps toward our goals, no matter how small. Seneca noted, "There is nothing so consistent with reason as to continue to progress in life." To bring about meaningful change, we must commit to taking action every day, even when it feels difficult or uncomfortable. This might involve practicing patience, building resilience, or developing new skills. The key is to remain focused on the process rather than the outcome, trusting that small, consistent efforts will lead to significant progress over time. Step 4: Embrace discomfort. Change often requires us to step out of our comfort zones and face challenges that test our resolve. The Stoics understood that growth comes from facing adversity, not avoiding it. They believed that by voluntarily embracing discomfort, we could build the strength and resilience needed to overcome life's inevitable hardships. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This Stoic teaching encourages us to view obstacles not as barriers but as opportunities for growth. To embrace discomfort, we must be willing to face our fears, endure hardship, and persevere through setbacks. This might involve confronting difficult emotions, challenging limiting beliefs, or making sacrifices in pursuit of our goals. By learning to tolerate discomfort, we build the mental and emotional fortitude necessary to sustain change. Step 5. Practice patience and persistence. Meaningful change does not happen overnight. It requires patience and persistence. The Stoics taught that we must approach change with a long-term perspective, understanding that progress often comes slowly and incrementally. Seneca advised, begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life. This teaching reminds us to focus on the present moment, making the most of each day's opportunities for growth. Patience involves accepting that setbacks and challenges are a natural part of the change process. Persistence involves continuing to take action, even when progress seems slow or difficult. By practicing both patience and persistence, we develop the endurance needed to achieve lasting change. Step 6. Seek support and accountability. While the Stoics emphasize self-reliance, they also recognize the importance of community and support in the pursuit of change. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Help me to see my own errors and to follow the right course." This humility and openness to feedback are essential for personal growth. Seeking support might involve finding a mentor, joining a like-minded community, or simply asking for feedback from trusted friends or family members. Accountability is also crucial. Having someone who holds us accountable to our goals can help us stay on track and maintain our commitment to change. Step 7. Reflect and adapt. Finally, the Stoics believed in the importance of reflection and adaptation. Change is a dynamic process, and it requires us to regularly assess our progress and make adjustments as needed. This is where the practice of daily reflection becomes particularly valuable. By regularly reviewing our actions and outcomes, we can identify what is working, what is not, and where we need to make changes. The Stoics encouraged flexibility and adaptability in the face of change. They understood that rigid adherence to a plan can sometimes hinder progress, and that it is important to remain open to new insights and approaches. By being willing to adapt, we ensure that our efforts to change remain effective and aligned with our ultimate goals. By following these practical steps, we can initiate and sustain meaningful change in our lives, guided by the wisdom of Stoic philosophy. Through self-awareness, clear intentions, consistent action, and a willingness to embrace discomfort, we can transform ourselves and our lives for the better. The journey of change is challenging, but with patience, persistence, and support, we can achieve the growth and fulfillment we seek. Certainly. Let's delve deeper into Chapter 9, where we explore overcoming challenges and then conclude with a compelling call to action. Chapter 9, Overcoming Challenges 2452. Challenges are the crucibles in which character is forged. Life is replete with obstacles, some anticipated, others unexpected. To the Stoics, these challenges are not mere impediments but opportunities for growth, resilience, and the exercise of virtue. The true test of one's philosophy is not in the calm of life, but in the storm. It is in these moments of trial that we must call upon our deepest reserves of strength, wisdom, and fortitude. The Stoics, such as Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, remind us that the obstacles we face are not external forces to be feared but internal battles to be won. Epictetus famously said, "Difficulties show what men are." This statement underscores the Stoic belief that challenges reveal the true nature of a person. When faced with adversity, the Stoic does not despair, but rather views it as an opportunity to prove their resolve and commitment to living a virtuous life. One of the central tenets of Stoicism is the concept of dichotomy of control, the understanding that while we cannot control external events, we can always control our responses to them. This insight is crucial when overcoming challenges. Rather than expending energy on things outside our control, we must focus on what we can influence: our thoughts, emotions, and actions. By maintaining this internal locus of control, we empower ourselves to face challenges with equanimity and clarity. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, often reflected on the nature of obstacles. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This Stoic maxim teaches us that challenges are not roadblocks, but rather the very path we must walk. Each obstacle, each difficulty, is an opportunity to strengthen our character, refine our virtues, and progress on our journey toward wisdom. To overcome challenges, the Stoics advocate for a few key practices. 1. Embrace the challenge. The first step in overcoming any challenge is to accept it fully. Resistance to reality only amplifies suffering. Instead, by embracing the challenge, we align ourselves with the natural flow of life. This acceptance is not passive resignation, but an active engagement with the present moment, fully aware of the task at hand. 2. Maintain perspective. In the face of adversity, it is easy to become overwhelmed by the magnitude of the challenge. The Stoics encourage us to maintain perspective by zooming out and seeing the bigger picture. Ask yourself, will this matter in a year, in 5 years? Often, what seems insurmountable in the moment diminishes in importance when viewed from a broader perspective. 3. Cultivate resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, to keep moving forward despite difficulties. The Stoics believed that resilience could be cultivated through the practice of voluntary discomfort, deliberately exposing oneself to minor hardships to build mental and emotional toughness. This practice prepares us for the inevitable challenges of life, ensuring that we are not easily shaken when difficulties arise. 4. Seek wisdom in adversity. Every challenge carries within it the seed of wisdom. The Stoics believe that adversity is a teacher, offering lessons that cannot be learned in times of ease. When faced with a challenge, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this experience make me better? By approaching challenges with a mindset of growth, we transform them from obstacles into stepping stones. 5. Lean on virtue. In moments of difficulty, the Stoic turns to their core virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These virtues serve as guiding lights, helping us navigate the stormy seas of life. Wisdom helps us see the situation clearly. Courage gives us the strength to act. Justice ensures we remain fair, and compassionate temperance helps us maintain self-control. By anchoring ourselves in virtue, we find the stability needed to overcome any challenge. 6. Take action. Finally, the Stoics believed in the importance of taking decisive action. While reflection and preparation are crucial, they are meaningless without action. When faced with a challenge, do not hesitate, act. As Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. By taking action, we move from theory to practice, turning our philosophical understanding into tangible results. By embracing these Stoic principles, we can face challenges not with fear or frustration, but with a sense of purpose and determination. Each challenge we overcome brings us closer to the person we are meant to become: stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Your call to action. As we conclude this journey through the Stoic path of letting go of the past and moving forward, the question now turns to you, the reader. What will you do with this knowledge? We have explored the depths of Stoic wisdom, learning how to release the burdens of the past, reshape our narrative, and turn pain into power. We have discussed the importance of present focus, the freedom found in breaking expectations, and the strength to be drawn from overcoming challenges. Now, it is time to take this wisdom and put it into action. Stoicism is not a passive philosophy. It is not about accepting life as it is without striving for change. On the contrary, it is about actively engaging with life, taking responsibility for our thoughts, emotions, and actions, and continuously working to improve ourselves. The Stoic path is a path of action, courage, and resilience. So I challenge you to take the first step. Identify one area of your life where you are holding on to the past, where you feel stuck, or where you face a significant challenge. Apply the Stoic principles we have discussed. Reflect deeply on your situation. What story are you telling yourself? How can you reframe it? Embrace the present moment. What actions can you take now to move forward? Cultivate resilience. How can you turn your pain into power? What virtues can you lean on? Remember that change begins with a single step. No matter how small or difficult that step may be, it is the beginning of a journey toward a better, more fulfilled self. The Stoics remind us that we have within us the power to shape our future, to overcome any challenge, and to live a life of purpose and virtue. As you embark on this journey, know that you are not alone. We are all walking this path together, learning from our struggles, growing from our experiences, and supporting one another in the pursuit of wisdom and strength. Let the wisdom of the Stoics be your guide, and let your actions be the testament to your commitment to live a life of courage, resilience, and purpose. Take action today. Let go of the past. Move forward with determination. The future is yours to shape,